Hi, this is a Minute of Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now this week I want to talk about why you should mind your megabytes. Okay, so last week I finally got around to getting a new phone. I got a Nexus 6P. I mean, I have so many phones around here, you wouldn't believe it. But I got a Nexus 6P with 128 gigs of memory. I used to have a Nexus 5 with 16 gigabytes of memory, but the problem I had with it was I kept running out of disk space. So I get a lot of requests from people saying, "Hey Eric, can you have a look at my app?" And I will go through and I might download the app and say, "Yeah, it's good," or whatever, or give some critique, or my clients. I have so many client apps on the phone, and of course I have all my own apps, so that I can make sure that first of all that I get like at least one other person downloading it, and also so that I can show it to clients when I go meet with them. So, I mean, of the hundreds of apps we have, that was filling up a lot of the disk space on my phone too. However, the reason I bring this up today is because I do get a lot of people who contact me saying, "Hey, can you try out my app?" And I will go through and look at it. It might be something really simple like a Flappy Birds clone, or something, just a 2D thing. And I'll go through and I'll look at it, and it'll be like 200 megabytes in size, right? Which is one of the reasons why that I keep running out of space. It's because I keep downloading these apps, and they seem to be getting bigger and bigger. Like our idea of what we accept in terms of size has gone up. And I know I've done this myself too. Our biggest app is 80 megabytes, which is morning, noon, and night. But usually they're around 20 to 30 megabytes, which is still a little large. I mean, I try to get that down. EarSpy, our biggest one, is I think it's less than 10 megabytes. So it's much easier, but that's a much more less graphic intensive. And the reason these files get bigger is the more audio assets you add to it, the more images you add, the bigger they get. However, one thing you have to keep in mind though with these file sizes, and one of the reasons why I obsess about the file size, is that you may say that, well, 200 megabytes on a 16 gigabyte phone that's no big deal. But most of the time, like our phones are filled up with our pictures and our music and so many other things. And there's one, when you're trying to get somebody to download your app, or even especially to pay for your app, you're competing with so many different things. First of all, you're competing with all the other apps in the App Store, so trying to get your app found. But then when they go through to download the app, you are competing with the disk space on their phone. So if you have a game that's 300 megabytes in size, and I'm not talking about like Grand Theft Auto or one of the ones where you can see, I can see where all that size comes from. I'm talking about like the simple ones, like they just haven't optimized the assets inside their app. They're not, they're using WAV files, they're using very large image files, or they're catering for every screen size and that kind of stuff. So when somebody goes to download that app that's really huge, you're competing with the pictures of their kids on their phone. This is one of the things I thought, I really don't want to delete the pictures off my phone. I mean, I got everything backed up, but I like the pictures of my kids more than I like, say, a game that I'm just going to try out for a few days. And when I go to download another app, and one that I really want, I have to go through the list of apps that I have installed and look for the ones that take up the most disk space, and those are usually the first to go. So one of the things you want to do is keep your file size low, and I'm not talking about low like assuming, well, everybody now has an iPhone 6 and it has 16 gigabytes of memory. Especially if you're with Android, you have to think about those lower end devices. If you're there's a lot of people, especially like all over the world, who they might be kids, their parents give them their old phones, or they might just be in places where they can't afford the latest version of Android with a big disk space, so they have the lower versions, and that still contributes to your revenue if you get as many people to download them as possible. So my message this week is, be careful of those megabytes. Make sure you keep the file size down. There's so many different things you could do. You could, just like in the early days of the web, I tell you, when in the early days of the web, you had to make your images like really, almost low resolution. You had to keep them like where they still look good on the screen, but they were the lowest file size you could, right? And otherwise the page would take too long to download, and people would leave your page and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of the same with mobile. The smaller your file size is, the better off you are in terms of getting people to use it, getting people to download it, getting people to keep it, and all that kind of stuff. So that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next week. Okay, bye. Hey, I really hope you liked that video. Now I do these once a week, so if you want to hear more, or you want to hear more about our experiences with the App Store, either Google Play or iTunes, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and please like this video and leave a comment. I love reading the comments. I love hearing what you have to say, even if it's just hello or whatever. And like I say before, if you're not sure what to say in a comment, like I never know what to say in a comment, I'll make it easier for you. Like if you liked it, just go ahead and say gnarly, which is an 80s term, or if you didn't like it, just say bogus, and if you didn't think any of it, just say eh, right? So that would be a big help. And another thing you could do, which I'd really appreciate it, if you're on the App Store and you want to try one of our apps, look up some of the Overpass apps applications, either on iTunes or Google Play, and leave a review and let us know what you think about it, either good or bad. But it's we're all trying to build up in the market, so that would be a big help. So that's it. I'll talk to you next week.